Yo, what is going on, YouTube family? Oh my god, I'm lagging my ass off. GZTV. That's the first time we've been on Twitch, or YouTube. Sorry, actually, I'm so used to being on Twitch. It's the first time we've been on YouTube, probably for a stream and NBA recap in like a month, it seems. Maybe a couple of weeks, realistically. Since like Christmas week, we haven't been on here. But we have three games to talk about. One of them actually got postponed due to the court being having condensation and like it being super wet in Chicago, I guess. So like the court got moist and they couldn't play. So let's get into it. Kenny Beecham was kind of talking about it, but let's save this game for last. Let's talk about the Indiana Pacers versus the Hornets. Let me switch over. I don't know if I have my Streamlabs. Yes, I do have it set up. Okay, or my Stream Deck. Okay, Pacers versus Hornets was a close game, quite the mid-off, but hey, the Pacers win a game. The Pacers beat the Hornets by 2. They end a 13-game skid. Give Rick Carlisle his 1,000th win. So although not the most successful season out of them, and by the way, after these recaps, I have time for the rest of the night to kind of talk about stuff. I'll probably hop on 2K real quick and open some stuff, and then I have a Cody Leach video, because you guys know I talk about movies over here. I do have to look at his top 10 most anticipated movies for the year. Put them on my list. But the Pacers beat the Hornets by 2. Yeah. Great scoring for Pascal Siakam. Obviously great rebounding, and he hit the clutch layup to win the game. That's awesome. Again, Rick Carlisle, one of the most elite coaches in NBA history, really showing with that here. Hornets coach can't get a timeout call. TJ McConnell comes up with a huge steal. It's all very crazy. This was a pretty wild ending, a little dramatic for two teams that are pretty shitty. They're really shitty, actually. I mean, Pascal Siakam just being a tough offensive player, and obviously they have to go against a guy like LaMelo Ball who plays well at all three levels of the floor. And he was fighting through defense and all that stuff, but they get the victory. Shout out to the Indiana Pacers. I might have time actually to watch some NBA basketball tomorrow night. Otherwise, I will be covering Captain America, A Brave New World, however you call it. We only have that and 2 more movies in the MCU until we're all caught up. So that is very good news. We can get into our Stranger Things rewatch, by the way. So me and my dad have like an hour, 10 minutes left on that. And so far, actually, it's like a little better than what people were saying it is on the internet. Still not the greatest movie. It might be a little more positive than people are letting on. I know I'm going to hear the game audio in my headphones. I'm just going to use those for the YouTube video. We don't need to hear it here. That is a goaltend. Kind of crazy athleticism for Diabetes there. LaMelo, despite the loss, he's still hooping. That boy's hooping. He's not going to be an all-star on this team probably ever again. I think he needs a new beginning, but we'll have to see what happens. My fucking ear itches. It's been itching all fucking day. Sorry, that's kind of gross, but it's truthfully been itching. LaMelo is hooping, though. He's having fun. You know, he's making money. So, I mean, I get losing kind of... Like, even if you're working for a shitty company that, like, doesn't sell a lot of things and you get paid a lot of money, would you do it? I don't really know. Maybe. I don't know. That's an interesting thing to kind of think about. To kind of, like, compare it to the real world and not just this fantasy that only a few people get to live out. Look at Siakam. He's just incredible. And then, yeah, McConnell. They couldn't get the timeout. I guess the Hornets coach was, like, running up and down the sideline. That was actually a really good look, and LaMelo's pissed. You can't, man. I mean, like, they're like, dude, we're trying to win for you, and we can't. I don't know, dude. It's such a frustrating situation. As a guy that's actually a fan of LaMelo Ball, this really sucks to watch. You look at the Pacers, though, a 30-14 game for Siakam. And yeah, he turned the ball over a lot, but this is the guy that has the ball in his hands most of the time. He shot 75% from 3. You get a 10-point game for Jay Huff, didn't miss a single shot, and was a really good rim protector for this team. You get 16 out of Aaron Nesmith. Again, just using his athleticism to grab rebounds. That's kind of his specialty. See, TJ McConnell was great off the bench. Played exactly like he did kind of in their playoff run last year, and they need more of this if they're going to win games. Now, obviously, they need to tank, get a good draft pick, get some good young guys to surround Tyrese Halliburton. But, like, if they ever want to win a game, TJ McConnell's kind of their X-Factor guy. So that's kind of all I have. 23 points, 33% three-point shooting, really good facilitating, really good on-ball defense as well. You get into the Hornets, you get a 19-point performance from Miles Bridges. He actually played pretty good. He shot 50% from the three-point line, was able to grab some rebounds. 10 points from Moussa Diabate. Definitely wasn't the most efficient player, but he was still able to grab some boards. I'm not upset with him. Colin Sexton put up 11 points. He shot 33% from three. He actually played really well. He was able to dish the rock around and play some good on-ball defense. You get a 18-point game for Con Knuppel. Not the greatest inside, but he still managed to shoot 33% from three and hustle on the glass. Their leading rebounder, which is pretty concerning, by the way, that you're a guard on your team is the leading rebounder. I'm not really sure about that. 33 for LaMelo off the bench is pretty spectacular. He shot 50%. He was dishing the rock around, just being a really good dual threat offensive player, and he was also very good at getting in passing lanes and playing on ball. I do think Brandon Miller had a pretty bad game. Like, he is a really athletic defender, and you got to give him credit, but 25 and 20 splits, that is very rough. And of course, in place of that, they gave LaMelo Ball. They brought him off the bench and gave him some minutes. So honestly, this kind of is just a collapse by the Hornets that they could have won. Looking at Cleveland and Minnesota, I knew this was a close game, and I knew the Timberwolves were going to win, so hey, I should probably be a betting man. Nah, I'm never going to gamble in my life. The Cavs have definitely struggled on the road this year, and this game really shows that. Timberwolves beat the Cavs by 9 behind Julius Randle's 28 points, set season highs for shooting percentages. Shout out to Julius Randle having one of his most efficient games of the year, scoring, rebounding, passing, just doing all three of the levels. 4 consecutive wins for the Timberwolves. I'm telling you, this team can contend for an NBA title. They really can. I'm not joking. Really good stuff. Anthony Edwards becomes the 3rd youngest player to reach 10,000 points, 10K already. And that's really why we were here for the video. Shout out to Anthony Edwards. That is a big accomplishment. He is a great young guy in the league. I have a pair of his shoes over there somewhere. He's phenomenal. Julius Randle obviously getting to the rim and playing some bully. Dante DiVincenzo hit some tough shots. I mean, obviously they do have to go against Donovan Mitchell, and he's always going to be a problem on the offensive end for a team. But hey, they get the victory. They pull it together. They get a tough, gritty win. We're going to watch the highlights, talk the box score, then get into the Jazz and the Mavs, and that is going to do it. We will check out some of the games tomorrow, which actually I might be able to watch some basketball tomorrow. I am planning on streaming tomorrow night, playing a bunch of Madden, grinding out, just getting my theme team as good as I possibly can. And yeah, really excited to see what players we get, legends cards, stuff like that. Should be a good time. Here we go. Donovan Mitchell giving him some sauce. Donovan. And fucking one. Already had my liquids for the day, so I'm locked in on that. I locked in on my hydration, locked in on my exercise, locked in on my content. The only thing I'm not locked in on is a job. Not really locked in on school either, to get prepared for the semester for senior design. Not met. We haven't ordered any parts, so that's unfortunate. Look at Donovan Mitchell. Bang. I mean, they had a 19-point lead with 14 minutes left in the game. I guess it's never really over. It's not really over here either. I guess the Cavs kind of surged back, so it's not like they choked. Never really was over, was it? Look at Donovan. Oh, no. Oh, no. This man is dangerous. Look. That might have been travel. That might have been a bit of a travel, like, if I had to call it. Oh my god, yikes. Yeah. That's hilarious. That's some funny shit. McDaniels. And the Timberwolves get a victory. That was big. I'd like to see them. Oh my god, you got the baddies courtside. You got some chop shit on the social media team coming on the court, of course. It's time for Trae Young. I am excited to see Trae Young on the Wizards. I don't know when he's going to make his debut. We do need to probably look that up in a little bit. But kind of looking at the Cavs who lost the game, I don't have a problem with how Jared Allen played. Really good game for a traditional big. 11 and 10. Really good defensive game. 19 for Evan Mobley. He played good as well. He shot 60% from the three-point line. Donovan Mitchell put up 30. He did kind of struggle from 3, but he shot 50% overall. Was able to rebound and pass at a high level. 16 for Darius Garland, definitely not a good shooting night, just 25% from 3. But he made up for that by being a facilitator and being a really good two-way guy. 14 off the bench for DeAndre Hunter. Could not get a 3 to fall, but he was hustling on the glass. He was playing good defense. I don't mind how he played. 22 points for Sam Merrill. He also played really good as a kind of just a pure offensive player. Craig Porter, my God. I mean, really struggled this game. Didn't really offer the team any. Good thing they have a good bench squad with guys like DeAndre Hunter, Sam Merrill, Jalen Tyson. So I think this was a well-coached game. I do think they kind of just fell apart towards the end. And how even Jalen Tyson's a really good hustle rebounder on the bench, and he plays somewhat efficient. So shout out to him. You look at the Timberwolves, just a great game for them. Very top-heavy. The starters had some games, but you get a 28-11 game out of Julius Randle. Really efficient game. 57 and 53 is incredible for a team to shoot as. Great passing for Julius Randle. You get a 26-point game for Jaden McDaniels. He was great. 75% three-point shooting. Grabbed some boards. Played well on both sides of the ball. 11 and 13 for Rudy Gobert. Didn't miss a shot and was really good on defense as well. 22 out of this was a great game. Wow, 22 points for Dante DiVincenzo. He shot 60% from the three-point line. You get a 25-point game for Anthony Edwards. He shot 50%. He was rebounding. He was passing. Look at this team go. They look really good. Getting into Dallas and Utah, you really want to see Dallas win this because now they're in some pretty bad positions. Because if you can't win the gimme wins like they should have here, I don't know what to tell you. Lauri Markkanen scores 33, rallies the Jazz to a 2-point win over the Mavs. I think it's over for these two teams, though. I don't really see a world where they contend for anything. And the Mavs are just pitiful on the road, really. That's been their problem, dude. Crazy. Great game for Lauri Markkanen, scoring the ball and rebounding it. 5-game losing streak for the Jazz got snapped tonight, so I guess that is cool, but it doesn't really matter, I don't think. Anthony Davis got hit in the groin or something. He was in the locker room. The guy can't stay fucking healthy. I mean, that's the problem. The guy is almost a health liability for this team. Get him going. Obviously, Cooper Flagg's a great player. He hits crazy shots. He plays really good offense. Can be a lob threat. Can be everything. But Keontae George played really tough on offense, and so did Markkanen. Check out the highlights here. Those are really cool jerseys. The kind of faded black with the light blue trim. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, I might actually have time to watch a decent amount of hoops tomorrow night. I'm going to go check out my 2K stuff while this is kind of going on. I mean, they're not eliminated from the playoffs, but both of these teams are pretty fucking hopeless. Let's be honest, for the year, these are two very much rebuilding teams. Mavs don't have Kyrie, and the Jazz have... Oh my God, what a block. Mavs don't have Kyrie, and the Jazz have been rebuilding for the last fucking 7 years, probably, since Donovan Mitchell left. AD. He's a really good, baseline, at-the-rim offensive player. I love AD. Good pass. That's beautiful. That was a beautiful fast break. Can't even lie. That was crazy. Coop. Oh, Caleb. Good deep. Oh, that's unfortunate. Hey! They still have the tree up in fucking 2K? Those jerseys are cool, man. Where did those jerseys come from? If the Jazz weren't so shit, I'd buy a jersey of theirs. Walter Clayton, imagine if I got a Walter Clayton. Oof. Who is that? I'm not locked in. Look at Kevin Love. The vet. Oh, God. Najee Marshall. Cut it to a 2-point game. Sucks for them, bro. Coop's pissed. Dude, games like that you have to win to kind of get yourself back on a little bit of a high horse. You kind of have to win those games. That's kind of unfortunate, but whatever. Let's look at the Mavs. They took the L this game. 21-11 for Anthony Davis. He did struggle from 3, but he ended up shooting 50%. 17 out of Najee Marshall. He played pretty good. He shot 40% from 3. You get a 26-10 from Coop. Coop played really good. I mean, 50% three-point shooting, really good passing, really good on both sides of the ball. 16 for Max Christie. I'd say he played really well, too. 50% three-point shooting. Clay put up 23 off the bench. A lot of these guys played good. He was able to dish the rock a little bit. But what the hell was that from Daniel Gafford? He didn't take a single shot in 25 minutes. I mean, sure, he's your board man. You also do have Flagg and Davis for that, though. Ay, ay, ay. I mean, they played Klay Thompson, but you have Ryan Nembhard, Brandon Williams, and Caleb Martin. All three are better offensive players. And Caleb Martin can rebound damn near just as good. And it's just like, man, why? I don't know. I don't really like them playing three, like, damn near 7-footers. It's really dumb. You look at the Jazz, you get a 10 and 10 game for Kevin Love. You get 33 out of Lowry, who is really good at grabbing boards, really good at playing at the rim. Crazy block against AD at the beginning there. You get a 14-point game for Bryce Sensabaugh, who shot 50-33 splits. You get a 19-point game for Keontae George, who shot 67%. 6 for 7 or 67 is always going to get a joke over here. Great passing, really good on-ball defense for Keontae George this game. 12 points for Walter Clayton. He was also a really good on-ball defender. He was able to get in some passing lanes as well. So, good win for the Jazz. I'm assuming tomorrow's going to have a lot more games because tonight was literally just 4 fucking games. Holy shit, yeah. We have a lot. I think in a close game, my Celtics can take down the Raptors. I'm somewhat confident in that. Philadelphia and Orlando, I couldn't tell you. That's going to be a really good game. I do think it's a mid-off between the Wizards and the Pelicans, but I do hope Trae Young plays, and I do think the Wizards are going to win that game. Mid-off between the Clippers and the Nets, honestly, I don't fucking care. I think the Thunder are going to rip the fucking Grizzlies a new one. I think the same about the Nuggets versus the Hawks. Sorry, Hawks fans. I think in a close game, the Knicks are going to take down the Suns. They're really good right now. I think the Warriors are going to beat the shit out of teams like the Kings, and the Kings are in their division, and this is really good for them to have teams like that in their division. God damn, the Rockets are going to destroy the Trailblazers. I do think the Trailblazers won last game, but they're going to get their redemption, and I think the Lakers are going to kill the Bucks. I mean, that is like must-see TV every time Giannis and LeBron plays, but based on the position that each of those teams are at, I think the Lakers got it. So there's that. Dude, I hate this fucking chair. I'm going to watch this Cody Leach video, and then we are going to get out of here. Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. Probably should turn this down.
What is up, guys? I hope you're having a great new year so far. And in the spirit of a new year, it's time to finally look forward at all of the films that are slated to be released in 2026. I've got all but one of my end of the year videos out, the last one being my ranking of all the films, which currently is sitting at 151 new releases that I saw in 2025. It's going to take me a few days to get that out. I'm aiming to have it out on the 12th. Which would be my 36th birthday. But I certainly didn't want to delay this video until the middle of January. And as I'm taking a look at the slate of films, now there's always going to be some surprises, some things that aren't announced, or you don't really know the full context of what the movie is going to be until much later in the year. But the ones that we have slated right now, it looks like 2026 could be a very exciting year for movies. So fingers crossed, a lot of really cool, smaller independent films, a lot of horror films that are exciting. Even some of the bigger studio blockbuster films, looks like we could get some really exciting shit this year. So hopefully 2026 ends up being a kick-ass year for movies. I've got 15 movies I'm going to talk about here. 4 or 5 of them I'll kind of run through quickly because they're just like honorable mentions that I wanted to throw on your radar. And in the spirit of throwing movies on your radar, movies that I actually saw at film festivals last year that were technically 2025 releases, but will not be released wide for most of you to be able to see them until this year, that won't be on this list because I've already seen them, but I want you to check them out really soon. You've got Primate, actually.
Dude, Adobe, stop. God damn.
Tonight is Primate, so real.
It actually comes out. It does come out tonight, huh? I'm trying to think here what I gotta do tomorrow. I don't really know. Sports. Crunches. Oh shit, I gotta get going with. I'm trying to think what else I need to do. I don't think there's anything else I need to accomplish. I think I got my to-do list tomorrow all in order.
Fucking soon. Primate is such a really cool animal attack horror film. It's intense. It's genuinely creepy. The kills are great. The practical effects on the monkey, who is the animal that is attacking everybody, looks outstanding. There's a cool Carpenter-ish type vibe to the score. That was a really fun one. You also have Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die coming out very soon. Gore Verbinski's new film. One of the smartest and most genuinely fucking hilarious and edgy satirical comedies that I've seen in a very long time. But there's also sci-fi and action and thrills and all of that. Such a really crazy, wild movie that you've got to see to believe. A little later on in the year, in May, you've got Curry Barker's feature-length debut, Obsession, which was one of my favorite horror films of last year. It was my favorite Fantastic Fest film. It is one of the creepiest and gnarliest things that I saw last year, so if you're a horror fan, definitely keep your eyes out for that. And I don't have a release date for it. I expect it to be in the last quarter of the year, which would position it more for awards consideration. You've got my favorite film that I saw in last year, which is The Rivals of Amaziah King. I've talked about it ad nauseum at this point. I've gushed about this movie unlike most films that I see in a calendar year. It's just such a wonderful, unique movie that I really hope gets a lot of people's eyes. I hope that it wins the awards that it deserves. So whenever that thing actually gets slated for release, you can bet your ass I'm going to let everybody know about it. But those are movies that will not be on this list that you should have on your list of most anticipated films. Now, as far as my list, a couple of honorable mentions I just want to run through really quickly. You've got Scary Movie 6, which is the first time that the Wayans brothers will be involved with this movie since the first two. I don't believe Keenan is actually directing it, which is the one thing that kind of gives me a little bit of pause. The person directing it has made movies I'm not really much of a fan of, but you've got the Wayans brothers in the writing stage, which arguably is the more important stage when it comes to comedies like this. I miss edgy comedy. I miss smart comedy. I'm not really a
Scary Movie 6 could be good
at all, but I do love the first two Scary Movie films. And if this one can recapture any of that and have a great time with more modern horror movies and horror trends, it's going to be an absolute blast. So can't wait for that one. A movie called Cold Storage, which stars Joe Keery, who is Steve the Hare Harrington on Stranger Things, one of my favorite characters on that show, where it's like some kind of a infection type body horror type film where you've got Liam Neeson and even Sosie Bacon as like these government officials, and they find this, Joe Keery and this other girl find this cold storage that has some kind of a government experiment that can have like catastrophic results if it gets out. And so I only watched like the first 30 seconds or so of the trailer, enough to get sold, so that's all that I've seen. But it looks like it could be a very fun, rated R, bloody, gore-fest horror comedy. Can't wait to see that one. Dracula. This could go either way. It's a Luc Besson film. You've got Caleb Landry Jones.
There's another. How many of those are they gonna make?
If you saw that film, but it's somewhat of a modern, I guess, reinterpretation of Dracula. You've got Christoph Waltz in here as like their version of Van Helsing. This could be an absolute miss. Luc Besson's extreme hit or miss for me. But anytime you're going to do a vampire movie, you've got my attention. If you're going to do a modern take on Dracula, you've got even more of my attention. So we'll see how that one turns out. Send Help. This is coming out pretty soon. Actually, it's the new Sam Raimi film, which that's all you need to tell me. Sam Raimi film. Put that on the poster. I'm there day one. But a really fun sounding concept.
Shout out to Cody Leach.
Got Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. And Dylan O'Brien, I guess, is like a dickhead manager. Tell me. Sam Raimi film. Put that on the poster. I'm there day one. But a really fun sounding concept where you've got Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. And Dylan O'Brien, I guess, is like a dickhead manager or a boss. And Rachel McAdams feels very much like taken advantage of at work. Their plane crashes on a work trip, and they're the only two survivors. And then that power dynamic very much flips while they're in survival mode. I mean, Sam Raimi. Again, that's all I need to hear. This honestly probably should have been in my top 10, but there's just a lot of really interesting sounding movies this year, so that one just barely edged out. And then number 11 in here, my last honorable mention, is The Bride. This is Maggie Gyllenhaal's new film where she's doing like a punk rock take on the Bride of Frankenstein story. You've got Christian Bale in here as Frankenstein's monster. And then you have Jessie Buckley playing the Bride of Frankenstein, who, mark my words, will be our winner this year for Best Actress at the Oscars. She was the winner, deservedly so, at the Critics' Choice Association for Hamnet, a movie that's not necessarily my type of film, but she was outstanding in it. So really, she has sold me on this movie even more so since watching Hamnet. But having like a punk rock vibe of the Bride of Frankenstein, a new retelling like that, certainly sounds like it could be interesting. Now, as far as my top 10 most anticipated films of the year, this one had to be on the list. There's a lot of question marks with it, but just like with Sam Raimi, you could just tell me the people who are involved, doesn't matter what the movie's about, I'm going to be there with bells on. And that is The Adventures of Cliff Booth. Now, this is a film that was oddly announced on April Fool's Day, if I remember correctly, because everybody thought this was a joke, because nothing about this sounded plausible whatsoever. It is a sequel slash spin-off from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino's most recent film, that is based on the Brad Pitt character.
Huh.
That's not the crazy part, although I wouldn't have believed that if they had announced that. The crazy part is that this is not going to be directed by Quentin Tarantino. He is writing the script, or he's written the script, and it is going to be directed by none other than David Fincher.
Huh.
What?
David Fincher? Didn't David Fincher make Seven? That's my favorite movie.
I mean,
one of my favorite horror movies ever.
You know, a couple of films out there in the 90s that Quentin Tarantino wrote that somebody else directed because he was early on in his career, and he did that for, you know, financial reasons. You've got True Romance that was directed
Sorry,
by,
I don't have a fucking ad
Tony
blocker.
Scott,
I
which is
know
one of my
I'm
all-time
a
favorite films. You've got From Dusk Till Dawn, which was
No, I'm
very
a
much
casual.
a collaborative effort where Robert Rodriguez took over directing, but Quentin Tarantino wrote and starred in the film, which is one of my all-time favorite vampire films and one of my favorite movie-going experience stories to tell people, especially the stars of the film when I meet them. And then you have Natural Born Killers, which I'm not personally a fan of, can never really find the desire to finish that film, but that's an Oliver Stone movie. So this is not unusual to have a Quentin Tarantino written film be directed by somebody, but it is massively unusual after Quentin Tarantino became the name that he did, because there was never going to be, perceivably, a story that he was going to write that he did not want to have full creative control over.
That is
and now that
true.
he's at the tail end of his career, and he's, you know, talking about his last film, and maybe going off and doing some novels, maybe we're going to see this become
That would be
more
kind of cool to
regular
see
thing.
Tarantino
We'll
write
see,
some
but
books.
having a Quentin Tarantino script, one of my all-time favorite directors and
course.
screenwriters, directed by David Fincher.
What all did he do? He did Pulp Fiction, he did Reservoir Dogs, he did... I'm missing some, fuck. Yeah, he did Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he did... What did he... I can't even spell the motherfucker's name right. Movies. Oh, he did the Kill Bill movie. Oh, he did Inglourious Bastards. I forgot about that. That's one of my favorite movies. I've never seen Django. I don't think I've seen Django. Hateful Eight. I mean, yeah, of course. He's done all of these. And he's had full control over all of them. Pretty much. True Romance. Like, that's the original. I think they did a remake. He really did that. He helped with Hostel. These are movies he helped with. He has credits in, I guess. That's about it. He helped make a movie about Bruce Lee.
Another one of my favorite directors of all time, maybe my favorite director of all time. I don't give a fuck what the movie's about. Chilling at McDonald's, I don't care. I am there. Now, I'm actually not the biggest fan of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm due for a rewatch. That's the reason why it's number 10 and not number 1. Because I'm not necessarily super anticipating more time in this world with these characters.
I never got to watch it, so...
I'm fascinated to see what this turns out. Like, I'm fascinated to see the world that I remember from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Quentin Tarantino's dialogue and his sensibilities with how he crafts stories through the eyes of David Fincher, who is such a distinct filmmaker. I can't wait to see what this turns out to be. Number 9, we got a movie that's going to cap off the year, so I've got a long time to wait for it, and that is Violent Night 2. Now, I did not expect a whole lot from the first Violent Night. I mean, I absolutely adore Die Hard. You guys know that about me. It's
I don't like holiday horror movies. They never really work.
Of all time.
Except for Halloween, of course.
Die Hard ripoffs that are very overt.
Probably the best holiday horror films. Trick or Treat, Halloween. That's really about it. Krampus was okay. Is it called Black Christmas? That's not bad. I don't know. Is it Silent Night? What did they call that? I'm gonna look it up. I think it was called Black Christmas. Yeah, this movie's not bad. It's a little old, but it's not bad. It's got John Saxon in it. It's not terrible. Who else do they have in this? I don't remember a lot of these characters. But yeah, this movie's alright.
Or even ones that are just like, you know, single.
Like the Thanksgiving, the Hard Eyes, those.
Action hero
Not into that.
In an isolated setting.
I don't even want to watch it.
So much of a ripoff, but it
that
became
reason.
like its own subgenre. Die Hard on a blank. And one of the most recent ones was Violent Night, where it's like Die Hard, but John McClane is actually Santa Claus. And I loved that movie. I had so much fun with it. I thought that David Harbour was great in the role. I really liked.
Is Violent Night a horror movie? I thought it was a horror movie. It's not. Maybe it isn't a fucking horror. It's an action comedy. Oh, I'm stupid. Okay, that makes it a little better.
Great mix of comedy and action and gory kills that were very
so
much
it's like Die Hard Christmas. I haven't really watched
like
Die Hard recently, so
chimney and then splattering everything on the outside.
I need to watch Die Hard for sure, though.
I had a blast with it, so I hope this movie is as fun and entertaining as the first one. If it is, it might end up being one of my favorite films of the year. I can't wait to see it. Number 8 is Evil Dead Burn. Now, if there was any
I'm not really into Evil Dead.
General idea on what direction this movie is taking, this could potentially be a lot higher on this list, but just knowing there's a new Evil Dead film is enough to
I don't really care for Evil Dead.
They're all very good movies to me. Probably the most consistent franchise now that Chucky and Scream has somewhat fallen off that list for me.
Maybe.
And the exciting thing about this one is it's actually directed by the guy who did Infested, whose name's Sebastian Vanacek, I believe is how you pronounce that. And Infested was a pretty wild little horror film where you had all these giant spiders, these mutated spiders that were taking over this apartment high-rise. And so you could watch that film and very much see why they selected him to make this movie. It's going down the same road as Evil Dead Rise, where it's very much a standalone type story.
I heard about Evil Dead Rise. Did people like that movie?
Ash Williams or the original trilogy, just within that world. I think that has set them up for a really long-term success with this franchise.
I usually don't nerd out on shit like this, but I had ample time.
Very excited for this.
So I figured, before I go to bed here, just check it out.
As Evil Dead Rise, I'm going to have a damn good time. Number 7, we've got Werewolf. This is the new Robert Eggers film.
Robert Eggers,
again,
nice.
A movie that I don't know a whole lot about. It's just the name attached to it.
Is he going to have Spider-Man or Avengers? I'm really curious to see if he puts those on here.
List. Now, last year, Lee Winnell's Wolfman was one of my most anticipated because I want so desperately for werewolf films to make a resurgence. There's tons of vampire classics in every single era, every single decade of horror, and they've been
Robert Eggers
so
is actually
good
pretty
for the
young.
last, like 3 or 4 years. You got Abigail,
he did
you got Nosferatu, which was his previous film. And werewolf films just never really seem to get.
I didn't watch Nosferatu. So The Witch is decent though. He did The Northman.
Man, I've now put all of those chips and all those hopes and dreams onto Robert Eggers' shoulders. That hopefully his take.
I watched The Witch, I believe.
Most likely period piece.
That had Anya Taylor-Joy in it.
Is going to absolutely be the movie that we need for werewolf fans. I haven't loved all of Eggers' films. The Lighthouse really is not for me, and The Witch is wonderfully made, but not necessarily a movie I would revisit. But I don't
care for The Witch,
and I loved Nosferatu. So he's very much on this upward trend as far as my enjoyment of his films. Hopefully Werewolf continues that trend. Number 6 is a movie that's probably going to be on everybody's list and number 1 on most people's list. And before
Avengers.
I saw like the little opening that they showed in the Avatar screenings, this wouldn't have even made my top 10, and that is Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Now, I love
Christopher Nolan's great.
Nolan, there's nothing you can
Batman.
really say bad about him. He is...
Okay, dude. Come on, bro. Is that necessary?
Definitively one of the best filmmakers of all time, certainly one of the best ones working today. Many of his films are in my favorite films of all time list.
Did I watch Interstellar? I don't think I watched. I did, but I haven't talked about
action and,
it. He did Oppenheimer. He did. I didn't watch Oppenheimer. Inception. I watched Memento from him.
Dunkirk. Oppenheimer, I think, was very well made, but a movie I wouldn't ever revisit. And after all of his wins with Oppenheimer and being on top of the world, he announced that his next film was going to be The Odyssey. And
did some of the DC.
The mass opinion out there was like, hell yes, fuck yes, this is what I want. This is going to be the best thing ever. And I was like, oh, I kind of wish he would go and do something more like Inception or The Prestige, or hell, I'll even take Insomnia. Like, I want something more like that. I don't know about The Odyssey. I just wasn't really that excited about it. You know, it got the historian side of there that he's continuing on with his last couple of movies, but also there is a little bit of a fantasy edge to this, of course. I mean, there's monsters that he has to fight along the way, so we'll see what happens. That was kind of my thought.
I'm kind of more into franchise films right now than I am.
Washed away. This looks
because like franchise films incentivize me to go back and watch the old movies, like the MCU. I
as you
wouldn't
could
be
have
doing
expected,
this
it
if we
looks
we
beautifully shot,
didn't know that
mass
we were getting an
scale.
Avengers and
The
Spider-Man movie
IMAX
this year.
scale was amazing, right in front of Avatar. I love all the actors that are involved with this, Matt Damon especially, and so I'm fully
Matt
on
Damon
board
works
for
with
this
them
thing
all the
now,
time.
and I'm very much interested in seeing how Christopher Nolan is going to take more of the fantastical elements of the story, how he's going to realize that. It's actually been really funny to me to see like film Twitter and people like that get all up in arms over the trailer and be like, that's not historically accurate, that helmet is weird, and it's like, bitch, he's about to fight a Cyclops. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? So yeah, The Odyssey, a movie that it seemed like everybody else but me was already hard for, and I was like, I don't know, we'll see. I'll be there day one, of course, but we'll see. And I'm very much excited to check this film out, although I didn't buy my ticket a year ago.
How do you go to like film festivals? I need to go to one sometime.
That was fucking weird, by the way. Why'd they do that? Number 5, we've got Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. And this is a little bit of a Black Phone 2 situation where I love the first
I
film,
low-key might watch
but I
this.
don't quite see the vision for how you sequelize that story. Again,
I
know
might
this
have to
all the
watch
time.
that, dude. I watched the
The
first
trailer,
one.
I've been told that the trailer shows a little bit too much, so I don't know exactly if
I don't
the
like
story
watching
direction
trailers,
they're
bro.
going with there. Maybe it's awesome, but this is one where I'm totally going in and hyped from my love of the first film and my love of the people that are involved. Like, I love the filmmakers here with Radio Silence. Abigail, their most recent film, was my favorite of that year. One of my favorite films to be released over like the last 10 years. Adore Abigail. Adding in Catherine Newton, who is an absolute standout in Abigail, and even Elijah Wood, Sean Hattasey. Talked with him very briefly at the Critics' Choice Awards about this movie too, and he said he thinks it's fucking awesome. He thinks it's even better than the first film. Take that with a grain of salt, as we all would, but I'm excited for this one. I hope that it ends up being a better experience than what I had with Black Phone 2, where that one kind of affirmed my hesitance on how you sequelize this story. Hopefully this one is just an absolute blast the way the first one was. Continue to cement Samara Weaving as like the new absolute undisputed Scream Queen. This one's going to be fun no matter what, but we'll see how fun. Number 4, we've got Clayface. This is a DC Universe film that
I'm not really interested in
what
DC.
really excites me about the
DCEU.
potential for this James Gunn universe, that we're going to get some really off-the-wall weird shit like
South by
this.
Southwest would be sick.
Clayface is
They have
like
a music festival too.
B-level, maybe even C-level Batman villain who has gotten a lot of time to shine, like in the animated series and the video games, but has never gotten a live-action representation. And the reason I'm fascinated about this, aside from just I'm a Batman whore, and so whatever side stories, spin-offs, TV series, villain origins are going to give me, I'm going to eat up. This is directed by the guy who did movies like Eden Lake and the Speak No Evil remake from a couple years ago that I really enjoyed. But more importantly, it's co-written by Mike Flanagan. Like a lot of movies on this list, you just list the people involved with it and
Who?
give me
Mike Flanagan did. Let me think. Let me see if that sounds familiar. Did he do? He did Doctor Sleep. He did. What else? He did Hush. I watched Hush. So yeah, he is doing. He did Oculus. He's doing Clayface coming up. He helped with Shelby Oaks. He did a couple Exorcist films. I don't really care. He did a couple VHS movies. Is there actually 3 Oculus movies? Wait, what? What the fuck is going on? I think Oculus was a horror short, wasn't it? Okay.
Untitled poster. I'm going to be there day one, but it really excites me, the potential for a Mike Flanagan written DC Universe Batman villain spin-off movie, and I enjoy the director's films so far. So I don't know the direction, if this is going to be like a rated R body horror film, if it's going to be like a crime thriller. I really don't know what to expect from it, and so this could go even higher on my list of anticipation once some of those answers are given. But the potential for this is huge. If this hits, I think this might be an even more important win than Supergirl, which is definitely expected to make a lot more money. This just really excites me. Like, I'm more anticipating this one than I even was Superman last year. That says a lot. Coming in at number 3, we've got Terrifier 4. And I'll be honest, the only reason why it's
They're dropping another Terrifier?
number 3 and not like a landslide victory for probably number 1 is because I really don't know if it's actually set in stone that it's going to come out this year. I can't find anything official. Of course, it's been dubbed as a 2026 film, and I know that Damien has been writing the script over the last year or so.
I need to watch Terrifier
very
3. I haven't
plausible
even
that it
watched
could
it
come out
yet.
Halloween season of this year, but it seems a little ambiguous, and anytime it's ambiguous,
And for my spooky films, I'll definitely watch Terrifier 3 this year. I need to put that on the list.
it does drop my anticipation a little bit because I don't want to get hyped and excited and then find out I got another year to wait. But you guys know I love this franchise. I was a little late to it. Wasn't the biggest fan of the first film or the anthology films that prefaced that, but I loved Terrifier 2. It was one of the best surprise experiences at my first film festival, and then Terrifier 3 was an amazing experience for so many other reasons. I love how just exploitative and over the top and how wild and crazy, especially with Terrifier 2, that this franchise has gotten.
See, I want to go to a film festival and then rank every movie I watch there and just put that all in one video.
Might be hinting that this one's going to go back more in the direction of 2, where it's going to be a little bit more out there, a little bit more bombastic, a little bit more Dream Warriors, if you will. And that very much excites me. You know, some people were really excited about 3 kind of getting back more to the basics of the first one, and I did love that film, but the craziness and the wildness and the bonkersness of the second film is definitely where a lot of my love lies. And also the fact that this has been dubbed as like the closer of this franchise. I doubt it's the last Terrifier film we'll ever see, but I do think that Damien and company do want to go off and do other things, so this is going to be like a bookend for a while. It's going to close out Sienna and Art's story, and then they'll definitely probably come back to it in 10 years or less time, but the fact that we're going to get a lot of answers, Art's
He's wearing a Misery shirt.
What's the deal with Sienna's father, all that kind of stuff. So excited to get some of those answers finally. I'm very, very excited, very much anticipating this film, and hopefully it'll be another experience where I get to see everybody, meet everybody at the red carpet, and then see the world premiere at Fantastic Fest yet again, because that is always the best context to watch these wild-ass movies. Now we're at my top 2, and number 2 for me is going to be Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Avengers has to
Spoiler
be number
alert,
1.
Doomsday is not on this list. I felt like that was an obligatory addition because I really don't have a whole lot of excitement for that one. I pray that I am proven wrong and that movie kicks ass. But Spider-Man Brand New Day, I genuinely am excited for. I love this.
I think the Spider-Man movie is going to be better.
Movies.
I'm going to be honest.
All of them I really enjoy. Even ones like Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3 that everybody hates on. I even enjoy those films.
I like Spider-Man
all the Tom
3.
Holland movies to varying degrees.
Amazing Spider-Man
And
is very
the
iffy.
previous one, No Way Home, I thought was just an absolute blast. And I like the fact that they seem to be.
All of the
teasing
Tom
this was
Holland
going to be
movies are
going
good.
more in the
All of the
direction
Tom
of,
Holland
like,
Spider-Mans are good.
Traditional Spider-Man, swinging around New York, not
And
world
like
universe ending.
as theater
and
experiences, they're
multiverse
really good.
type deal, storylines, just the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Whether or not we're gonna get that or not, we'll find out when they start saying things like the Hulk's gonna be in here. I have my reservations, but
I'd love the Hulk to be in there.
Punisher
What?
in here definitely has some curiosity. How you're gonna make Punisher and a PG-13 Spider-Man work together? A lot of curiosities, a lot of ways that this could go in a very cool direction, or could possibly go in a little bit of a bad direction. The director is the guy that did Shang-Chi, which I was a big fan of. Certainly one of the better movies post-Endgame, but an amazing kick-ass Spider-Man film like that could be...
The best post-Endgame Marvel movie has probably... Dude, this Captain America movie I'm watching right now could be there. It's actually not that bad. I don't really know, though. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is probably up there.
Medicine for those of us that want
Maybe Thor Rag? I don't know.
really to still love the MCU despite how hard they make it.
Shang-Chi is pretty solid,
This
though.
one, as
Doctor
far
Strange,
as
if that came out
superhero
after,
comic
I don't know.
films,
That's
is
decent.
the one that
All of the
if I had the
Spider-Man movies are
opportunity, I would
good.
watch it right now if I could only pick one. But my number one most anticipated film of this year is going to be Zach Kreger's Resident Evil. And the funny thing about this being my number one is that I have so many reasons that
Zach Kreger's interesting. Okay.
I'm excited about this.
I watched the
and I have so
original
many reasons
Resident
that I am
Evil,
nervous
I think.
about this. Now,
Maybe.
to get the
Maybe it was
negative
Evil Dead.
reservations
I
out of
can't
the way,
remember.
one of the things that have frustrated me so much about the overwhelming majority of video game adaptations, more specifically the film adaptations, is it seems like way more times than not, the studios, the writers, the directors,
No, it was
decide to
Evil
just go
Dead.
their own way with it. They take the
I watched
name,
the
they take
original.
kind of the vibe of the game, some of the characters, and then they write their own original story that has almost nothing to do with the source material, the lore, the pre-established character arcs, or character personalities, or storylines. And it almost always fails, because it ends up being a story that's meant to just...
Zach Kreger's a really good director. Barbarian and Weapons.
Good, so you don't win them over, and then you alienate and piss off the pre-established IP fans, and you don't win them over, and so you end up with nothing. And when Zach Kreger said, after he announced he was going to be doing Resident Evil, that he's not adapting any of the games, he's making his own original story that's just going to feel like Resident Evil, he's the guy that can pull it off if anybody can. But I've heard that shit so many times that it...
Dude, I don't know. That is cool, though.
It just makes my alarm bells go off. Now, what he has been saying since then about how it's going to be about one character who's going to be just going through different locations and slowly descending into hell to recreate, like, the vibe of the video games, like, okay. He's given me the impression he really does love the games. He understands the world. He understands the experience. And that does give me a lot more positive reception on that direction than I initially had. But beyond that, it's fucking Zach Kreger. I loved Barbarian. I loved Weapons, maybe even more than Barbarian. And he is probably like my #1 current like new rising voice in horror that I just can't wait to see what he does. His sensibility.
He used to be in like a comedy, a sketch comedy group.
Scares and tension. Even his approach to comedy and the way that he kind of slightly puts it in there and doesn't put too much and never undercuts the tension in a way that makes for a negative experience, which I think you should have a little bit of that in Resident Evil 2. I just think that he is the perfect guy to adapt this. I still, selfishly, as a fanatic of the Resident Evil series, it's my favorite video game franchise of all time, I still wish somebody would just adapt the first game. It feels like that's been dangled over our heads as fans so many times and nobody's done it right. But he is the one person that I'm willing to put my reservations aside and say, okay, thrill me, Zach. Let's see. So there's a lot of potential for him to do a lot of really cool, unique things with this, to bring some new blood, some new flavor into this that maybe even the video games will love and eventually bring some of that, his new stuff into the video games. Maybe we'll get some really cool additions like, I don't know, like Elisa Trevor or, the fucking Lickers or something in there that will be very much pieces that we love, the iconic moments from the video games. I don't know. So much could go wrong with this, but there's something about that that makes me even more excited and have even more higher anticipation for it. It's just like the morbid curiosity of what the hell is Zach going to do? So this is the one. This is the one that I am most on pins and needles about.
I'm pretty excited for Avengers. I mean,
the week that it comes out, like praying that it's going to be awesome. It's going to be the one trailer this year that is going to be so fucking hard for me to resist watching. If I get it on like good authority from some of my trusted friends that it doesn't show too much, I'm gonna be reacting to that bitch. So yeah, I mean, as a Resident Evil fanatic, it would have taken a lot for this not to be my #1, but having it be the guy that made Barbarian and then Weapons, which was one of my favorite films of last year, instant skyrocket to #1. Resident Evil, most anticipated film of 2026. Well, that's it for this one, guys. If you enjoyed that, click over here
all right.
For all of my end of the year rankings.
I'm gonna hop off.
Most surprising, all that good stuff. I'm also going to put a playlist up
Shout out Cody.
My coverage of previous Resident Evil films, if you're curious about that. Like, share, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss everything in the future. And as always,
You heard the man.